What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical average American here today to react and learn about reasons why you should move to Canada. I'm ready. I'm ready to be convinced, to be swayed, finally. No, but seriously, many Americans point to Canada as this amazing getaway, this escape, a place to move to when, well, honestly, when they think things aren't going very well in America. It's basically, that's the reason a lot of the times Americans want to move to Canada because it's not America. Which I kind of want to throw out that reason today, and I want to learn about good, interesting, valid reasons why you would want to move to Canada. I know Canada is a very popular destination around the world for a diverse amount of people who all want to travel and live in Canada and become citizens. And that obviously spells very good for Canada. And this video here, 9 reasons why you should move to Canada, thought would be really interesting to hear, especially from my American point of view, because it's kind of like a trope in America, where Americans are like, oh, going to Canada. Going to no, this ain't for me. Going to Canada. And I don't even know if those Americans understand quite how great Canada really is. They don't really understand quite what they're saying, even though they're probably right, so they don't know why they're right. Anyway, with that all being said, let's not pause this any longer. Let's take a look.
Now, number 1, these are in no particular order, but the first reason why you should move to Canada is the amount of space.
Right.
There's a lot of it. Canada is the second largest country in landmass, only next to Russia.
I mean, that is amazing when I think about it. I mean, I know Canada's enormous, but all I'm thinking of now is, since she mentions this as the first thing, how enormous Canada is and how much smaller the population is compared to the United States, for instance, which has, man, so many people. Like, I can't even fathom how many people. And yet Canada is bigger and has like a 1/10 of the population, basically. Sounds nice. That's a good reason.
So that's kind of a cool title to have. I don't know. With second, second's fine. I mean, it's not first, but second, I mean, but it's not third either, right? So, it's fine. Of course, with that, there is much of Canada that nobody can survive in, which is a little bit exciting.
Right. Talk about, that's another thing Americans don't know. I feel like this video is just going to become things Americans don't know about Canada, but that's okay. It's kind of the premise of a lot of my videos. Anyway, yeah. Americans don't really know what to think of when they picture Canada. I know because I'm one of them. And there's this whole parts of Canada, especially the more north you go, where it really gets less densely populated, like a lot. And I think mostly because it's a lot colder the more north you go. Yeah.
But Canada is still huge, and we have so much space. So when you are living in a town or a village or a neighborhood or whatever, there's a lot more space to deal with. So homes tend to be like a decent size.
I have actually wondered about this. I'm actually really happy she's talking about this, because I have actually wondered if the lower population and giant, enormous size of Canada translates to, like, lots of space. When you get out of, like, densely populated Canadian cities, does it translate to really a feeling of, oh, there's a ton of space. Maybe I can build a house here. My yard's going to be gigantic. Lots of space to really live my life and have a home, basically. I've always wondered that, and seems like there's some truth to that.
Like a pretty good size. They're a lot bigger than what I'm used to back in England. England is so dang small. Y'all, so small. It's hard to comprehend. So naturally, homes there are very small. You get used to this tiny little, tiny expensive house. And then I come here and I visit my parents at this house. And it's big. And you're like, wow.
That's good.
This house has a room dedicated to the laundry. fabulous. So yes, Canada has a lot of
Okay.
space, which means homes tend to be a bit bigger. We have a lot of parks and conservation areas and big open spaces and just a lot of breathing room. Of
Right.
course, if you go to
Yeah, that sounds like really nice. Like, obviously, depending on where you live in America, you can find that same kind of feeling, but it seems like it'd just be far more likely and accessible in Canada.
a big city like Toronto, it's like any other big city. It's crowded, it's busy,
Right.
it smells
Right.
bad. But that's just what you
Okay.
get with a big city. For the rest of us living in towns and villages and suburbs and communities and whatever, it's far more likely that you're going to have quite a bit amount of space.
The Canadian suburbs. I've never heard a more peaceful sounding sentiment than just the quiet, open Canadian suburbs. Sounds nice.
Compared to much smaller countries, because that makes sense, right? That's obvious. So the first
Yep.
reason you should move to Canada, we got lots of space. You want some space? Take some space. You also want some space? Have some extra space. You need more space? Have some space over there. There's
Oh,
some
thank you.
space there. There's some space back there. There's lots of space. Number 2, the second reason why you should live to Canada is we tend to be a happy country.
You know what?
Yay!
You know what? Just as simple as that. Yes, I did just say live to Canada and didn't notice. Thank you for pointing that out. I did actually notice that she said reasons to live to Canada. I wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't going to say anything about that, but she pointed it out. Okay. Anyway, what were we talking about? Canadians are happy. That sounds kind of silly, but honestly, that's one of the most important things in your life. And living around happy people is going to make you more happy. It might just be as simple as that.
So Canada is consistently ranked as one of the most happiest countries. We are never in the top 5, I don't think.
Huh. Oh man, this is making me very curious where the United States would rank on like a scale of happiness, especially countries around the world. Oh, let's just look it up. Happiest countries in the world, 2023. 10 happiest countries. I'm just going to go with this one. I know it's a sponsored link anyway, so I don't even know if this is good. Number 1, Switzerland, Iceland, Denmark, Norway, Canada. Number 5 on this list. There you go. Finland, Netherlands, Sweden, New Zealand, Australia. All right, no America. Big surprise. There you go. There's our anecdotal evidence for now.
Norway, Sweden, Denmark, they always beat us. Okay, we've just come
Right.
to accept that. We're never going to beat them, but we are still usually ranked pretty well in
Yeah.
like overall happiness.
Yeah, I've seen Canada ranked super well in happiness, and I've seen it ranked incredibly well in education as well. Maybe that's another reason to move to Canada in this video. I don't know.
So that's good, right? I found most recently Forbes released the world's 20th happiest country, as per Forbes. Obviously, this
Okay.
came out in 2020. I'm sure this will change after COVID, but anyway, Canada, we are ranked 11, so we are the 11th happiest country. Australia is in 12th. United Kingdom is in 13th.
Oh.
And United States is 18th, just to
Oh.
give like
18th. Okay, in that list. You can find these lists all over the internet. So who really knows? I don't know if there's like the most scientific, data-driven list out there, but Canada obviously seems to consistently rank much higher than America. So for Americans like listening to the reasons why you should move to Canada, this is definitely true. Much higher average rates of happiness.
some comparison, but Canada, we are 11th. We beat Australia, UK, US. But of course, the happiest country is Finland, followed by Denmark, Switzerland, Iceland, Norway. We're never going
Right.
to beat them. That's fine. But on the whole, Canada tends
Dang
to
it.
rank as one of the happiest countries. We're 11th. Okay, so not top, but we're close.
All right. So far you can have a big old plot of land, big old open spaces, and be happy. That's pretty good reasons so far.
and I'll take that. Hi guys, it's me, Alana. Just in case you didn't know who I was, hello. I am in this video and I'm also here right now doing a very short ad. I'm very sorry, but just give me 5 seconds. If you like my videos and you want to support me, please join me on Patreon. Please. You're missing out on...
Okay, well, I respect the Patreon ad, but I'm gonna skip it.
Back to the video. Now, the third reason why you should move to Canada is our health care. Wow, you guys.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, I knew this one was coming. I knew it. Actually, going back to what I said at the beginning, as for Americans, like one of the, if not the highest reason that Americans say, oh, I want to move to Canada. They're doing it right. They got it. They got it, everything understood. They know how to do things. Healthcare. Healthcare is consistently like probably the top most mentioned thing. And it seems to be absolutely true. From you might have thought I was going to take this maybe a different direction, maybe try to defend the American healthcare system. No. Throwing it under the bus. This is totally belongs on this list of reasons why you should move to Canada, particularly for us Americans.
It's good, okay? I'm going to say that. So, some details, because I don't want to say this wrong. I know the YouTube commenters will come at me if I say anything wrong. Anyway, here we go. So,
Okay.
If you are a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident, you can apply for public health insurance. With it, you don't have to pay for most healthcare services. So, this universal healthcare system is paid through by taxes. So,
Yeah, like, love that. Makes so much sense. I don't know what we're doing over here in America. I guess I do understand. At this point, healthcare, a large part of healthcare in America is basically treated like a business, and it's been that way for a long time. And when you have very big, powerful corporations in control of all the healthcare in America, making untold amounts of money from it, then it's going to be very, very, very hard to ever change that. It seems, as sad as that is. But, you know what? Sadly, it seems like most Americans have kind of been forced to accept it. So, I don't know. I could go on all day about this, so I'll stop for now.
of course, we'll say, you know, it's a free healthcare system, and then everybody in the comments is like, it's not free. You have to pay with it through your taxes. It's like, okay.
Right, but that'd be great. I'd love that. Please. I don't know what my taxes are going to. Like, they should be going to healthcare. That would be great. I think most Americans would agree with that. I don't know who wouldn't, honestly. So, yeah, I like the whole taxes thing. I never in my life has, in my American life, have said that I like taxes until you start talking about taxing me for healthcare. Then suddenly, take my money. Take it. Take it and let me live, please.
Buddy, guy, my guy, take a breather. Okay, yes, it is paid through taxes. When you use public healthcare services, you show your little card,
Okay.
whether that's at the doctor's or the hospital or whatever. It kind of looks like a driver's license, so you have your photo and all your ID on the card, whatever. Each
Okay.
province and territory has their own health insurance plan, so you have to make sure that you know what your particular one covers. So being an Ontarian,
This is the part where I don't really understand too well, because I thought it was like a universal government organized healthcare system with federal taxes or something. But then I always hear that it's somewhat dictated on a province by province basis. I'm not exactly sure what that means.
being from Ontario, I have OHIP, which is the Ontario Health Insurance Provider Plan. Oh my God, that's embarrassing. The Ontario Health Insurance Plan. Pardon me. It's
Okay.
been a while. So I have OHIP and I have, I think they're green for Ontario. It's a green card. It has my picture. You're not allowed to smile. I look very scary in it. And then of course it has like my ID, my name, birthday, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So anytime if I went to the doctor's for an appointment, they will scan my card so they know, you know, who I am and all that stuff.
this is equivalent, like, obviously, to the American health insurance card that has your picture and, like, a little tiny list of all the payments and percentages that you're gonna have to pay or not pay for certain things. And yeah, honestly, you just show up whenever you need help. This is a crude way of putting it. You show up whenever you need something and just hope to God that your health insurance plan covers it. And maybe it does, and maybe it doesn't. And you kind of just cross your fingers and wait for the bill.
All provinces and territories will provide free emergency medical services. Even if you don't have a government health card, there may be
Wow.
restrictions depending on your immigration status. If you have an emergency, you can go to the nearest hospital. We also have walk-in clinics. They may charge fees if you don't live in that particular province or territory. But
Right.
overall, Canadian citizens, permanent residents, you can go to the hospital, you can go to the doctor, you have your little card with your face on it, and you go and you don't have to worry realistically about going bankrupt because
Yeah. Well, honestly, sometimes it does get blown out of proportion. The whole American going bankrupt in America with the healthcare thing. For the most part, as long as you're fortunate enough to be in a solid financial situation where you can afford medical insurance, healthcare insurance plan, you pay for it every month, most of your stuff is going to be covered or like 80% covered or something like that. And it's honestly when only if you need big, extravagant, complicated treatments, that's when you could end up paying some kind of outrageous, crazy amount of money. So I guess for the most part, Americans like don't live in constant fear. Although like I know people who don't even want an ambulance to show up when if they like broke their arm because the ambulance is going to not be covered by their plan and cost money. And yeah, it's really the more deadly your ailment, the more money and the less it's covered, which is really bad. That's really bad. You honestly want the really bad stuff to be covered more now that I think about it. Instead it seems to be less, which is pretty screwed up, honestly.
you're ill. On a personal note, I had a family member who had cancer, and honestly, their treatment, we would never have been able to afford it. When you think of the scans, the diagnostics, the trips in the hospital, surgery, medication, injections, doctor's appointments, meetings, consultations.
Oh, yeah.
There would be no way that we would be able to afford that at all. And so there is something that is very special and very important about the fact that you can go to the hospital and you can get the treatment that you need without having to sell all of your possessions and your house.
Yeah. Like I said, this is probably the number one reason why Americans and probably other people around the world look to Canada like as somewhere they'd literally want to move to for that reason alone. Yeah. This is like one of the most hotly debated kind of things about it, but for good reason.
It's something that is very, very near to my heart, and I hope that Canada, we protect our system. The UK is in a similar boat. I hope you guys protect your system as well. It's just really important, okay?
Yeah.
Ooh, there's a nice breeze. Number 4, the fourth reason why you should move to Canada, guess what? Air conditioning. I said it once, I will say it again. I will die on this hill. I love air conditioning. Now,
Air conditioning. Well, I'm not sure I understand this one yet. You can get your air conditioning in America. So is it different in Canada somehow? Is it more cold? Is it more refreshing? Or
when I lived in England, most homes do not have air conditioning. That's just how they are built. It's not something that's very common.
oh, she in particular has lived in England, where apparently they don't have air conditioning in older homes. So this doesn't really apply to Americans, from what I can tell. Okay, thank goodness. I was getting worried here.
British people always tell me it's a waste of money because it's only hot like 3 days a year. They don't
What?
need it, blah, blah, blah. However, every summer you always have a heat wave. Global warming, baby. So basically, there's nothing you can do other than sweat it out. I remember last
Oh my
summer, I was
gosh.
so hot. It was hot for like 2 weeks. We're talking like 30 degrees Celsius hot, and you have no relief. I remember I got a tea towel from the kitchen, and I soaked it in like ice cold water, and I would just work, because I was working at home, wrap it around my shoulders and like,
Oh my gosh, I did not know that people in England went to these kind of measures. I had to suffer like this. I get why they kind of convince themselves it's all okay. No, we don't need the air conditioning. We're fine. We're fine.
like the back of my neck, just to try and cool down. I had to sleep that way too. I slept with a wet tea towel on my body because it was so hot.
Oh my gosh.
It sucks. So here in Canada,
Yeah.
it's much more likely that you will live in a property that has air conditioning. Of course, that is not the
Yeah.
case for every place, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's much more common than places like the UK. Now, when
Wow.
people think of Canada, they
Okay. You know what? Man, this has been very good so far. Reasons why you should move to Canada. I'm getting very persuaded here, especially after that healthcare bit. Also, we had higher happiness. What was the first thing? It was like just larger amounts of space to to live in happiness with your healthcare in your air conditioning. Pretty good so far. This video is quite long, honestly, so I think that we're going to stop here for now and continue this in a part 2, and this will just be part 1. So if you enjoyed this video so far, feel free to give it a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada, or part 2 of this video in particular, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.